call to order here. Traditional lands acknowledgement. We acknowledge and respect the Indigenous peoples within whose traditional lands we are meeting today. Adoption of the agenda. You all have copies of the November 5th Commission meeting. Didn't hear anything back from that, so we'll just simply have them, a motion to have them adopted as circulated. Somebody make that motion. Mills? I don't think we need a second, or maybe we do, Jim, we'll go in. So that's carried. Oh, sorry, no, what am I doing? Sorry. I thought that didn't sound right. Let me back up. Adopt the agenda.
Adopt the agenda and receive it.
Yes, thank you. All right, I do have two very minor additions to the agenda. That will, one only actually, 8.7 will be a discussion of updating the Riondel.ca website. Okay, that will be item 8.7 under new business. And let's try that again. So a motion to adopt the agenda. Nils, can we have you again? And Jim again? And all in favor? Carried. Thanks. Receipt of minutes. So yeah, we just have acknowledged that the October 1st minutes were received. We don't have a delegate here, but we have two representatives who sit on the Water and Drainage Committee here today for that portion of our discussion, which we'll get to fairly quickly. And public time. Does anybody want to raise any issues at this point in the meeting? Nope. Okay, we'll just go on with the agenda then. Old business, the Circle of Friends hot water tank. Don Horvath was putting the tank in today, but we're also going to do some electrical work. So it's a more standard circuit for the future. So the total cost of the electrical and the tank and the install will be $1,417.50, which is under, we allowed, I think, $1,500 for that.
40 gallons?
I think it's a 30 gallon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Actually, it probably says here. Yeah, it's a 30 gallon.
Sounds like a fair price.
You know, I think it should be okay. While Brandon Turlock is there doing the electrical, I've also asked him to take a look at the baseboards. Apparently there are a couple of non-functioning baseboards in there. So just so there's no danger for the fact that these things aren't working. There's something obviously not wrong. I don't think we should spend a whole whack of money on any kinds of repairs, but just to verify that things are safe. So that's happening right now. Brandon, I'm not sure when he'll be in there to do his stuff. 6.2, tarp for the rec center roof. No, do we have?
I've looked at it a couple times. I went up and took down the old tarp. That's on my own. I woke up again. I have no authority. I have no expertise. If I ever was here or a maintenance person was here, I would work with them.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not going to go out there on my own and try to replace a tarp. So it's too bad, but the rec center is leaking. It's going to continue to leak.
So the floor is getting wet again?
In the gym?
It's buckled.
Because it's gone down the wall, too. I could see a big wet patch on that wall for a while. But I got to ask, why isn't the roof repaired?
Because there was no money to repair it.
Well, and there's no reason.
And we're looking at fixing this building up. We clearly can't maintain it now.
Yeah, we can. We can maintain one building, not two.
So are we going to take one down?
Yes.
The gym?
What's that?
Here?
No, rec center.
Rec center.
No problem.
One that's falling apart is coming down sometime.
Oh.
So we're still maintaining that?
No, we're not. Well, that's the problem. You know, that roof failed on the old rec center years ago.
Oh, I thought it was this wreck.
No, this-
I thought, my God.
It has a brand new roof on the auditorium.
Well, yeah, I was wondering what's going on here. I thought we didn't finish.
No, we've got two buildings. We've got the old rec center, which is attached to the curling club,
Oh, okay.
and we have the community center. The rec center roof was in as bad shape as this roof was, and it just, we tried to we had buckets and stuff in there collected, but it needed, there's only so much you can do.
There's still buckets there.
Yeah, and
Actually,
actually,
leak here at the gym, has that leak been done? Has this leak been here fixed at the gym? On the north wall?
on the north wall?
Yeah, the big wet patch that comes up at that small door on the north side on the wall.
On the outside of the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the whole,
It's leaking into the wall there, right?
On this gymnasium.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about the rec center though.
Okay. I thought we're talking water leaks. This one we actually want to save, and it's leaking into the wall.
yeah. Well, this is where having people that roof is supposed to be inspected. It's supposed to be inspected yearly to see if it's still under warranty.
Yeah.
So if there's a leak, that should be identified, but
I think it's coming from the small roof over top of the door going into the gym. Because whenever it rains, there's a big wet spot on the wall.
so if it's a small roof, that's not going to be covered by the warranty. That needs to be repaired by.
Probably the flashing going into the siding that's not there right now might be an issue too, right? But that roof.
But at this point, we don't have a maintenance person to address that. I believe that Alan Richardson is here tomorrow. Well, he is actually here tomorrow morning. So I have to give him a couple of keys. I
Who
can
is
mention. He's the person responsible for the water system.
Yeah.
Okay, but
From
I'm not.
Preston?
What's that?
He's from Preston.
But I'm not sure if he's coming alone or if he's coming with somebody else. But we can mention that.
Okay, I know it's a little off course here.
But it's important because we want to deal with problems if we've got them. Just we need a person here to deal with them. All right. So with that, that's again something that I'll try or Nils, do you want to send an email to Craig Stanley and Stu Durning and just explain?
I could do that.
Yeah, that would be good. And then it's in their ballpark. So that would be Craig Stanley and Stu Durning. Probably the best people to notify about that.
So if it's attached to the curling rink, is it going to affect the curling rink?
Bill?
It will, yeah. Yeah, because if they take down the rec center, then it exposes the west wall of the curling rink.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to enclose it from the outside.
Yeah.
So it's a complicated situation. That's 3 buildings we have.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 6.3, proposed dates and times. Those are the standard Tuesday meeting dates for the year. We're still talking about a proposed time change. So we can confirm the date, but at this point we won't quite confirm the time.
I will be accept the dates.
Okay, so,
Fine, yeah.
and the seconder for that, Donna? All in
What-
favor?
What do you,
Sorry, go ahead, Jenna.
this is Lynn Crenna.
Oh, Lynn, hi, welcome.
Hi,
Welcome.
what kind of time do you think you might want to change it to? You can,
Well, that's on the agenda, Lynn, so I'm going to hold off until we get to that item, okay?
oh, yeah, I don't have one in front of me. My apologies.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'll just tell you briefly, we're looking at possibly moving things, I think, to 6:30. Okay. So think that over, but we'll get to that on the agenda.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. 6.4, this is the one that I've asked Sylvia and Lawrence to be here for. There is an issue with the water service on Ainsworth Avenue where there are several unserviced lots. And the question is, if those people wish to have servicing, how is it best approached? And all the RDCK is looking at from us is just a discussion of pros and cons of the options. Okay, we're not going to be telling them what to do, but they want to hear from us, you know, our perspective on this. So the two possible solutions are that the town pays for the install of the main line there to complete the line, because it's, I think, the only gap in the town system.
I agree with that.
Section on Ainsworth. Or the other alternative, and so that infrastructure upgrade would go on the taxpayers, on the Riondel taxpayers. So it would mean a one-time increase to local taxation for water.
What kind of price tag are we talking?
Can I interject? for a
Lynn?
second?
Yes, go ahead.
When the golf course gets their water license approved, they're going to be coming off. And that's a very large bill, which you guys are going to want to replace that. So if it means getting 4 or 5 more properties on a main water line, I think we'll probably be in good shape.
Okay, so there's an argument pro that it's going to increase the annual revenue from the town for water service?
No,
Lynn, is that what?
it's going to, when the golf course comes off the water, they're going to have 5 more people paying into that pot, which will replace what they're going to lose when the golf course gets their license. So,
There's the aspects of not consuming things like water filters that are worth $250,000.
no, I'm trying to save you money by, in some regards, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You can recoup.
No, I think Andrew's point is that over the long term, we'll make up for some of the lost golf course water revenue by savings on maintenance of parts of the water treatment plant, because those are expensive to repair and replace.
Yeah.
So if the golf course isn't using that water, it's easier on the whole system, and it will theoretically last longer before things break down.
Yeah, fair argument for sure.
Okay. So the other alternative is that those residents that have the unserviced lots simply shoulder the cost of putting in that section of line. Okay, so they would probably be looking at a cost of perhaps $15,000. I have someone indicating possibly higher than that. The number, we don't have a number.
My nephew was quoted $20,000.
Okay, so it's a big number. Okay, so those are the two options. That there's a one-time bump in taxation for water here for the town or the RDCK to put in that line. Then the owners of those lots would have to pay to hook up to that line, which is a standard charge of $2,000 or whatever it is now. Or they simply say, if you want water service, you put it in, okay, and you shoulder
Can
the
we
cost.
get a guesstimate what it would cost for Riondel residents to put that line in?
How much of a tax increase?
Yeah, and Gary, I think they quoted about $100.
But I'm trying to pull the,
And this is for one part-time user, right? Is why we're running this line? There's only one part-time user that's on that side.
Well, no, there's right on the corner, Lydia's family, right next, well, no,
Oh.
and then Rhonda's already up on water,
2.
and then the trail guy. And then,
Oh yeah, 3 people are on.
and then the,
3
Gary
temporary
and
trailers.
Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all temporary. None of them are there full time.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that will be, that's permanent, right? That could change.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another consideration.
What about 50-50?
Well, you know what? We've had this discussion, and I think most of the people, all they want is for the city or town to put in the main water line, and they will hook up. They just don't want to have to pay to do both. That's all they've really asked for. So I would say if we can do that for them, that would be great.
But then they also got their lots substantially cheaper, I'm sure, because they didn't have water on them.
And how have we treated other people that want water hookups, right? Do we pay for it normally, or?
Well, no, the rest of the town has water.
We haven't run into this before.
No, this is a new situation.
It's my feeling that, there's a lot of elderly folks here on probably fixed incomes and stuff, and we've seen the water bills go up and up. And
Oh,
up.
yeah, like we pay a lot for
So my
water.
feeling is, I think the property owner should take a larger portion.
I agree with that.
I agree, yeah.
They bought a lot of unserviced lots.
Exactly.
Should have been a lower price.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there could be a split in the cost, but I certainly think they should pay a portion of it.
I pay a full bill, and I only use water for 6 months, and it's only me, so it is that much again. So that's,
Oh, sorry, I don't think we quite heard you that time. Could you, say that one more time, Lynn, please?
I said I'm only there for 6 months, and it's only usually me, and I don't hardly use any water, and I'm paying the full year's bill. But you know what? That's the cost of living there, and I'm okay with that.
Will they pay all year long, even when they're not here?
I don't think you don't have to pay
No, I
all
think
year
you can
long.
get it
Yes.
turned off.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
Lynn,
do.
you can get your water turned off.
That-
Yeah, they're paying all year.
That doesn't change anything. You know, all I'm saying is I'm okay with paying that water bill the same as everybody else that lives there full time. I just think that that's just the cost of living here. I'm okay with that.
So would you be okay with, paying extra for this install?
If you could tell me exactly how much and how long it would take and what it is, I can certainly make a decision on that.
Gary?
Hey, so there's a few ways to provide water, and if all the owners said that they're all in and they're all going to connect, we do it differently than if one said they want water. Under the rules, you have a service connection passing with a certain distance to the storm drain. It's only to one house. If it's to two or more houses, it's the main. If you're on the Ainsworth side and you want to push under the road, with a single line to one lot 5 times, that'll cost a lot of money. If you push under the road with a single pipe, and you can't clear that storm drain that went in there, now we've got a whole different set of rules, and there's complications around that. You could possibly, and this is one thing Alex came up with, she's looking at clever options, you could push 3 pipes under that are 2-inch and string 2 3/4-inch service lines through each of the 2-inch carrier sleeves, pull each of that service connection to another common name, and get away from the health requirements for the separation from the storm line. It was all a little different cost.
For 20
And you're not going to bring somebody in to start pushing pipe under that road and under that storm drain one at a time, 5 times over 5 different years. So whether you do anything off Ainsworth or not, who's in? Are they all in? And which of the schemes make sense? Complete other option is you go to the alley. So we've all walked down that alley probably. It's an easier place to just dig and install maybe a little bigger than minimal line and create a loop. It won't be a big loop, but when you're doing service and disconnections, it gives you another option. It means sustain service and pressure in more of the community. And that's a general benefit. That's something you might say, well, that's where you might need this part of it. From that little bit bigger line, really easy to knock off the 5 Ts because it's nowhere near a storm drain and very straightforward to bring it to the property line. From the property line on, those lots would all pay for the curb stop on to the house wherever it has to go, like all of you guys did. Because you did it 50 years ago or 20 years ago or you're doing it tomorrow. So again, if all 5 are in, that makes a little more sense. It gives the community benefits. It's maybe minimal, but it's something different. You might say, well, this is why you might offset the cost. The other reason I like getting into the alley, chance of there being any mine tailings in that alley is still hazardous, have to be excavated, trucked with permit from Tech and disposed up in the hill, is minimal. Because look at the alley, it's just simple cut and fill. It wasn't built, nobody built a road base there. Ainsworth and the other roads where they built the road base, especially where it's a steep downhill to the low side of Ainsworth, who knows what's in there? It's tailings, whether it's boring and pushing or whatever. That material may have to be treated as a hazardous material, collected, separated, with permission of Tech and hauled up and dumped up the hill. So you may lean to the alley, put a little bigger pipe, give a future loose general benefit to the community and avoid hazardous material. You want 5 people to say, yeah, this makes sense for signing up, or you start looking at pushing one at a time across the road. That's why you don't have firm numbers in front of you. I thought I had some of the draft numbers. I can't find them. I think the purpose Gerald is looking for here again is, well, here you are, the advisory commission, is what do you think about this? Unusual. The other thing we haven't touched on yet, those properties have paid the frontage tax for water for decades. Even though they have no water main along their front.
You have no frontage.
Well, in Ainsworth, you have the water main on the other side of the road.
Well, that's considered frontage.
Yeah,
perhaps.
considered frontage. So you could argue one way or the other, except the install is uniquely expensive. The storm drain that wasn't there decades ago is there now. It went in, 8 years ago?
Oh, yeah. Probably.
And that complicates the classification of the main and the separation under the Health Act. So a lot of little things here that are not quite so straightforward.
We put the storm drain in, which makes it swamp. Hill, because of the swamp.
Drains in there.
Yeah, they read it, so we paid for that.
But it makes the water more
Yeah, I get
complicated.
it, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So anyway, staff have some ideas. They're looking for some impressions. And conversation probably won't end here.
So they just want a record of this conversation that they can look at. Is Jim's suggestion of a compromise, is that a possibility where he would
Yeah.
split the cost somehow?
It's the bylaw. The bylaw kind of states, well, everything looks through a lens. So if you're doing this, you do that. If you're doing this, you do that. It doesn't consider all the other factors necessarily. But you can vary a bylaw. You can have an agreement to see, okay, well, normally if you were beyond Aspen Road, you wanted water, go ahead, put your money on the table, we're going to put a chain out there, we need this, we need that, and tell you how much it costs. Balfour just did that. But in the Balfour one, they actually said, well, if the developer does this and this, then you can get other future connections or shared benefits. So they get into this negotiation. You say, oh, well, okay, that makes more sense. Let's do that instead. So staff has a sense that negotiate or some kind of variance or some adjustment to the bylaw, this particular situation, then that can go past the fault. You just want to read the bylaws. It says if you haven't got water, and maybe on a year or every 2 years, we'll pay whatever it costs. Push a pipe under the road or whatever. And almost always guarantee that there's never full cost recovery. Full cost. Do this 5 times over a decade, and it costs you more as taxpayers.
Yeah, well, it's bills keep going up. Trying to hold them down.
Well, we set precedents. If we do one, then the other lots are going to expect the same treatment, right?
Well, except there are no other lots.
Well, one of the 5.
One of the 5 lots.
Oh yeah, just one of the 5.
One of the 5 say, well, yeah, you just take the water.
Well, right now, who's requesting it? Is there 2 people requesting it?
I don't know.
How many applications are in for water on Ainsworth?
Have an application from it.
No one's
Couple.
Oh, I don't know what's happening with Manette, but no, he passed away last year. Oh, that's what. So he had a price for it, it's got too long.
Oh, that baby was a 2.
So,
Is that right beside Rhonda?
whether it's in probate now or what it's like.
The first meeting I came to, there was all 5 lot owners that were there at that meeting.
No, there was only 2 of them.
No, there was
It was
the
Gary, it was
German.
Gary and
Gary and
the German guy.
You know,
Adolph.
Anyway,
Well,
we're
that's
just,
three
we're
out of
looking here
five.
for pros and cons,
Yeah.
possibilities, so.
Do we have, do we have sufficient pipes to carry the water once it comes down?
I don't think flow is an issue for these few lots.
Okay.
I think would be good on the rest of the mains.
Are they already on
Fire
sewer?
flow.
Are they already on sewer?
Everyone has to have their own septic here.
Okay, thank you.
But the mains are sized for fire flow, and with the hydrants, nominally 1,000 feet apart. So that's more than enough water than you need for residents.
Okay, well, I think that Janet probably has a good enough set of notes at this point to take it to the water people and have them review. All right, I think I'll move on to 8.5 here. This one we're certainly not going to settle tonight. It's 6.5, sorry. Insurance requirements for community center events. This has become incredibly complicated. Wendy Miller and Jackie Wallace just met, had a Zoom session on Monday with a couple of people from staff at the RDCK trying to understand how insurance will function in this building, because it's looking like every single activity needs its own insurance coverage. If you play whist in the activity, you have to have insurance. It's a radical shift in policy, really. I was hoping from our last meeting here when Joe Kiriko was attending, he had the suggestion that possibly we could have someone trained as a rec representative for the building, and that would then allow us to shift the insurance responsibility to the RDCK, because it's just like having someone with a serve it right certificate at a dance where you're having alcohol, right?
But they have to be there all the time, don't
But they would have to be there, but that's not necessarily a big thing, because if you have, say, two people trained that way, it's just like you can always, you always find someone who is serving it right. And then that sounded like a possibly elegant solution to the problem, but no headway at all was made on that angle.
Stupidity reigns again.
What's that?
I said stupidity continues to reign.
Well, it's just we're in an extremely litigious environment where people are suing everybody for everything, the drop of a hat. And as long as that goes on, everybody's trying to cover their tracks.
Yeah,
Because,
ridiculous. This world we live in.
Anyway, Jackie and Wendy are trying to, pursue this and trying to understand how, because the Riondel Community Association, of which they're primary movers, is sponsoring all these events, right? So now do they have to actually ask everybody to have their own insurance? It is a problem now with the craft fair that's scheduled, because they've always, as in previous years, they've offered to provide refreshments in the activity room while people, for the people attending the craft fair. But now they're probably going to have to get insurance for the refreshments because we don't have a commercial kitchen. And then does Nancy Schmoes have to have insurance for the craft fair? It's a nightmare, really. And the two RDCK people said that they don't have to sort of solve all this immediately, but it's not going to go away either. There's, maybe there's some sort of grace period, but in the meantime, if there's a grace period, what happens if somebody sues you? So I don't have any positive news on this one. It's something that needs to be
we have any sister communities that are in a similar position?
Well, I think that's one of the things, yeah, I think that's one of the things that the two staff people were looking at, if there's any precedent that they can draw.
Or figured it out? Is anyone doing it well?
Lauren?
May I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
Is there a possibility that several communications could combine a pool?
There's a thought.
Are these volunteers always the same people? How big is this group?
It has 100 members.
Because we did take a look at insurance before, and they said you can get volunteer insurance, but you require to have, their names have to be on the
Oh, but it's
insurance.
not volunteers. We're not worried about the people, we're worried.
Attendees.
Yeah, it's general coverage. So we're really quite unique here, so I'm not sure if there are any associations that would operate on a similar basis at all. But it's worth exploring. And the other problem is Wendy did try to get insurance recently, and they won't give it to her. I don't know if there's a problem with the building, which I can't see because this building is insured. So
Local government are self-insured.
Do we have to rent the space for X number of dollars, which would be enough to cover their insurance, and see how much we could tack on behind that for rent?
well, we do charge rental, but we wouldn't have anything to do with the insurance.
No, but we would make it favorable enough that they would want to go out and get it, because that's just the way things are then.
Oh, but our rent is already, I think, so low, Lynn, that it wouldn't help much. Like, I think, we would charge the craft fair maybe $100 or $200 for the gym.
Yeah.
If their insurance would cost at least $200.
Wow. Okay. Got it.
Our rental is, we try to make it really affordable because we want people to do things in the building. But if they all have to start paying insurance for their activities, it's going to cause a lot of problems. Anyway, I don't want to pursue this because at this point there are no answers. All I can say is that the Riondel Community Association is in communication with RDCK staff to try and clarify exactly what is needed. But
Did they get insurance for that last dance?
they did get insurance for the dance, yes. And I think it was probably in the $250 range for that. All right, going on. 6.6, water line and electrical work north of the rec center. This is still a work in progress. I believe they're going to be doing something with the water side
This year?
this year, but I don't have anything further. I've asked about the electrical, and no one can tell me at this point what is happening with that, because those were supposed to be done together. Dig in the water line, put in the electrical line. Makes sense, but they can't dig in the electrical line because of contaminated soil. So they're going to have to do something different, and that's going to affect the electrical line, and so I don't know.
What is that they just did on the street? The
Fiber optics.
Oh, that was a fiber optic.
That's the fiber optic. So that's still a bit of a concern, because that line has failed 2 or 3 times in the past. It needs to be replaced. And we don't have electrical for the skating rink if we wanted to do skating in the winter. We have no lights now. So
The water-cooled condenser protected? In case that breaks again, Mills? That's that line that broke that contaminated the compressor, right?
Yeah.
Are you guys protected now? Do you have a
It is
filter?
protected now, yeah.
all right, Going on, 6.7, maintenance personnel update. You've probably seen the job posting out there. We're looking for a new assistant maintenance person. At this point in time, we have no one here. We went from an ideal situation of having a maintenance person and an assistant maintenance person, both trained in the water system, to having no one.
James is not here.
James, I believe, is not working for the RDCK anymore. And Evan is on medical leave.
Does he have a return date as yet? Obviously not.
What's that? No, there isn't.
How come they're just looking for an assistant, not an actual full-time person?
Well, I don't know. The job posting is actually for 24 hours, so it's getting close to a full-time posting, really. But I think it's just says, I believe the posting just says assistant. I don't think it says.
Is James going to do the training?
James is in the Dominican right now.
Yeah, he's not here. He's away.
Can we, do we have light duty work for Evan? Like, within the doctor's restrictions? Usually,
yeah, that's a personnel issue, so we really can't discuss it at all.
Pretty trashed. I think his back is pretty, not
It's a serious issue. It's
upper back.
an issue. Anyway, the job posting is out. I believe the deadline is the 14th for applications. It's been posted on the bulletin boards here. It's gone out through the community association. A link to the job posting.
How much an hour is it?
$30.
$30. Yeah.
Which is, I think that's something we should probably write to the RDCK about. $30 an hour for the kind of person with the kind of training and skills that they want. Makes no sense. That, 5 years ago, might have made sense.
if everyone else is getting paid $30 an hour, it's hard to.
Nowadays, $30 an hour, your house cleaner charges between $30 and $40 an hour.
That's true.
Here they want someone to look after the water system, maintain the building, do small repairs, do landscaping work.
To be qualified to do all those.
And be qualified for those things. So, I think, and that's something, maybe I'll just send a letter in just saying,
Break it up.
Is it a union job?
No, you would ask for a wage review.
Oh,
right. I mean, there's comparables, there's a large
union.
cohort of people. You just ask for a wage review.
When the union stipulate what the rate's supposed to be, how can you change that?
That's why you'd ask for a review to see if the position's properly classified. You're not gonna say a person needs more or less money, just ask for a review.
review.
Right, you have to change classification.
People that are, know what to do.
But, we'll see, we did get, we also lost our administrative assistant, of course. And they had apparently several applicants for that job. They are looking at 4 resumes right now. So there'll be job interviews shortly. Hopefully we'll have somebody back in the office again.
Is it only 4 hours?
It's more than that. It's 4 hours in the office here. It probably takes you 6 to really finish work and sort of do other stuff. And then there's meeting night minutes, which is added time. And then there's also the option of doing other work for the RDCK.
Our admin people move around and work on several different positions,
Oh, yeah.
like economic development, management, water advisory.
And that job pays $60 an hour.
Does it?
No, I'm just kidding. The other guy that does everything in the town gets 30 and that one gets 60.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we'll see who we have as candidates for that position. But this is a pretty lonely room right now, I'll tell you that. 6.8, feedback on the fall for DINIC, Elections BC. Everything went very smoothly in both of those. The dinner and dance went over extremely well.
Yeah, I heard they were sold out.
Yeah, no, they were, both the people who organized it and the people who attended, were quite happy with that one. And Elections BC was here and everything seemed to run smoothly with them. 6.9, just a heads up of what's scheduled here. November 22nd is a flu and immunization clinic. I'll be in the media room there. A Christmas potluck for December 14th. And I don't have the craft fair actually on here. And I'm not sure of the date. I missed that one. So that's the other scheduled event.
Remembrance Day this year?
Crawford Bay is doing it. So they actually, Riondel offered to do the remembrance ceremony here, but Crawford Bay said that they were going to do it again there. So they are. The 10:30, November 11th. All right, new business. Oh, sorry, I already covered 8.1. I updated you on the administrative posting. 4 candidates, or not 4 candidates, but 4 resumes that they're reviewing. 8.2, possible donation of cable for fencing from Tech. That happened. Tech has offered us to give us enough cable to replace that rope that we're using for a fence by the playground there. So they'll give us the cable and the shed will do the install for us, which is a nice gesture from Tech. Appreciate it.
Perfect.
Oh, Liz?
You just said perfect.
Oh, thank you. 8.3, a thank you to the East Shore Shed for work on the community center signage and discussion of purchase of new signage. So first of all, the shed people have been sort of filling in for our lack of maintenance people for the last little bit. They've done several small jobs that have really helped. The repair on the auditorium floor, a couple of small repairs at the Circle of Friends. When our sign blew over in the front here, they took it down and moved it and replaced the posts.
Took down the heater.
Took down the heater in the auditorium here.
And those jobs didn't pay anything.
No, well, actually, they do. They want us to give them a break on the rent.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So it's a trade-off. So they'll give us a bill, sort of, that we'll use to discount the rent. It's been a bit of a lifesaver, I think, for us, given our current situation. And I think their willingness is there to help in the future. And the only thing we just have to be careful, if there are specific jobs that tradespeople will do, that we should get tradespeople to do them, like the water tank and electrical and that. So thank you to them.
And we should have a motion to purchase that new sign.
Oh, okay, yes. So Nils, do we have a cost on that?
$460.
Okay. We need a new community center sign out there. The one that blew down is in pretty bad shape.
So the Speed Pro has given us $460. It's aluminum. It's shaped. It's done, finished, looks good.
No wood on it, all aluminum, you say? All aluminum?
Aluminum.
Yeah, so it's not gonna rot away.
It'd be like the last sign that was there was plywood,
Yeah.
delaminated. It's fallen apart. It's useless. So we took that down, took it to Speed Pro. They said, yeah, we can do that. We can replace it, make it look exactly the same, $460.
Okay. So Nils, do you want to make that motion, or it's a recommendation,
I'll
I
make
guess?
a motion that we spend that $460 and have Speed Pro use that sign.
Okay. And the new community center sign.
Yeah.
So Jenna, did you get that?
I agree. Yes.
Yes,
No,
sorry,
uh,
I just had to go off mute, but through to the chair, yes, I did receive that. So the recommendation is to have Speed Pro create a new sign for $460.
Yeah, for the community center.
Yeah, has anybody gone across the street and seen the sign that,
I saw.
for a memorial for Dr. Savory?
Mhm.
Same price, it's about the same sign, done by Speed Pro. Nice job. Have you seen it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is a nice job.
Oh, that was done by Speed Pro?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we have,
That's wood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that one across the road?
That's aluminum sign.
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought it
It's a
was
wood
wood.
frame.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
so that's, a motion, I think, still, so seconder? Jim, all in favor? Yes,
I'll phone tomorrow.
and confirm. Okay, good,
And
thank you.
then they need 50% down, so I'll just do that on my card.
Okay. All right, sorry, I'm not moving this up here. Somebody should say something.
You got it in front of us.
Yeah.
That's that reading class.
8.4, possible CBAL workshops on digital literacy. The library, there's a person in Balfour who is really keen on doing these little small workshops on digital literacy. So she has done one session with library staff here last week on using scanners and scanning documents. I think she has offered to come in every Tuesday morning or to do a session if there's interest. So I'm not exactly sure how that's set up. I think maybe she's just going to come to the media lab on Tuesday morning, and then if somebody wants to learn something, she's there.
What's stand for?
Columbia Basin Alliance for Learning. Okay. So that's, hopefully it will be a little resource that might be available to people, but I think the Riondel Community Association will probably do some kind of a notice, send some kind of announcement of when and how that's going to work. And while we're on that topic, I desperately would love to do something more with that media room, but I just don't know how. I have no idea. We've got two beautiful computers, actually three pretty high-powered computers in there. We've got the iMac with all the editing and music and video editing software on it. We've got VR headsets, but it's just not happening.
What's
We
the kids
need-
that we're getting at,
We
the
need
younger,
Evan back.
mostly?
We need, Lynn says we need Evan back, because he was trying to do stuff with that room.
Was there no other volunteers?
No, we just don't have anybody with that kind of skill set and focus and interest that will take it on. So,
I think my grandsons know how to work those, because they have that stuff, but they're little on the young side to run a program.
So I think my brother might be interested. Who would he talk to about it?
probably me.
Yeah, because he's pretty interested in computers and stuff.
It's just a shame because and Evan was using it. I mean, he was recording music in there and editing music, and he did I think a couple of YouTube videos about Riondel. Beautiful one, Riondel in the wintertime. So the potential is there, and we've got two pretty high-powered, almost like gaming machines that we were going to use with the VR, and they're just, they're not being used.
Sort of a casino.
A casino. Hey, yeah, revenue. There's, anyway, just, you can talk to Dave if he has some interest, you can talk to me. All right, 8.5, so this has come up. As I said, what the East Shore is doing is basically keeping a record of the jobs they're doing for us, the time it's taking, the people involved, and I think they're sort of going on the basis of $35 an hour. Okay, So they'll total that up at the end of the year and say, okay, we've done $1,200 worth of work for you this year. Can you take that off our rental? And I think that's the trade-off, because their rental is about $1,700. That works for me. I don't know if there are objections to that. You can raise them, but it's
Well, it's getting stuff done.
it's getting
The only
stuff
one
done.
doing anything.
Yeah. And this is a pretty skilled group of people.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so, including Nils here. And actually, I should, a shout out to Kent. What's Kent's last name? Kent Feeden, who has been wonderfully helpful, came here with the skid steer, picked up the broken sign, just, he went up, he replaced our flag on the roof. We've got this really nice Canadian flag now that our MP sent us, and put it up. And he checked the roof for pooling water, just, it's great. Really, really good to have someone like that. All right, 8.6. I sent out that letter that I wrote for Joe Chirico outlining why CBT should consider supporting us. So you should have all had a copy of that. I'm just sending it to Joe. I'm not sending it to the CBT. I just want him to make the argument for us that
We sent it to Riondel. I don't have it. I'm not in my email.
Okay, you'd like a copy of it, Gary? Okay, I'll send you one.
Is Joe on today?
What's that?
Is Joe here?
No, I don't believe he's on here tonight. Yeah. So, yeah, I just thought, our community has put in a lot of time and money and effort into this building. And I think that needs to be communicated to the powers that be. That we're not just asking for money, that we've actually put in our own money and we put in our own time and energy and planning to get things happening. And I think looking at the building now, it looks like a community center and it feels like a community center. And
We are proud of our people.
yeah, I think we should be. But we need help. We need support. So that's out there. 8.7, I spoke with Jeff Tremblay on Monday. The Riondel.ca website bothers me because it's so close to being useful, but it's not being updated. So there are things, it's the first thing that I think people, if they Google Riondel, I think that's about the first thing they is this site, which was set up by Bruce Scott decades ago. And it used to be run, the commission used to pay Bruce to maintain that site, run that site. When Bruce passed away, there was unfortunately no one to really take it over. Jeff Tremblay has sort of filled in the interim. He's actually sort of kept that website going, I think, and he's been paying the maintenance on it, I think, just off his own. But it's just hit and miss. There are probably 3/4 of that site are out of date, no longer relevant, broken links.
Mike Stenhouse might be interested in a job like that.
Who's that?
Mike Stenhouse.
Oh, Mike Stenhouse.
Jurassic Mike.
So what Jeff can do, and actually what he's done is, I think he's created a new platform for that site, because this site is so old that it's actually hand coded.
Mm-hmm.
You have to physically do the coding to change things on the site. So he can create a platform that's accessible for any sort of computer literate person to work with. And then we would have to maintain that sort of the basic site. And I think there's like $120 yearly fee to maintain the site. There would be a cost if Jeff sets up the full site, like the working platform, that would probably be about $300. I think it's a worthwhile investment for us to have a functioning, attractive Riondel website that has links to the golf course, the boat club, all the clubs in the building, just so, and it's got the ferry cam on there, it's got the library catalog on there. It's a useful and good site, and it's easy to use. Jeff can make it accessible on phones as well, so that it's phone friendly. So I would propose that we authorize, say, at this point, $400 to let Jeff create the platform and then train some people who are interested.
So he's ready to go with this then?
He is ready, yeah, to just create the framework, not to fill it in with all the links and stuff, but just to create something that somebody could then work on easily and keep up to date.
Well, then that's where you might want to look at Mike Stenhouse after
Yeah.
that's all done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Or anybody else that might be interested.
Yeah, Brett does that thing too.
But we could get word out. But we do need something that people can work like. We have a Commission of Management website that our admin assistant can update and work with. So this would be the same thing, except it would be for Riondel. Gary.
Yes, you're gonna need, we don't have an admin assistant today. You're gonna need a champion from this commission to go through, because just in this website, I mean, there's a great meeting thing about, July 16th, 2022.
Oh, I know.
Emergency prep, there's stuff in that,
Well, yeah, Gary.
Contact 2 staff sergeants, but somebody has to screen everything.
Yeah, well, my hope, my initial hope, Gary, was that I could sit down with Jeff and we could go through that and just delete everything that was, but like I say, it's coded.
Yeah.
So you can't do that.
So if someone would go through what's there now and capture what's worth
Yeah, I would sit down with Jeff.
Yeah. If you're willing to do all that, but looking through, there's a lot of stuff here.
Oh, it's terrible. That's why I really think. So, I would recommend that we budget $400. I'm just throwing that number out to pay Jeff Tremblay to create a new Riondel.ca platform. It would still be the same address, but just with a new platform, and then we'll have to figure out where we go from there. Have to start.
We're going to have one. It should work.
That's right. So, yeah. Seconder? Jim? Further discussion? All in favor? Okay. So an initial that should do it for the creation of the platform. All right. Correspondence. Oh, geez, I sort of. Jenna, did we ever pursue this one? I did find our old notice to residents about keeping alleyways clear and stuff. Where are we at with that one?
So I have spoken to our communications lead, and she can create a notice to send out. She just wants to know when the notice needs to be sent out.
As soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, just before the snow falls. Yeah.
Okay.
So she doesn't need anything further from me then?
Sorry, no, she does not.
Okay, good. Sorry, thought I missed that one.
So is this in terms of the highways, more?
Yeah, just to facilitate snow clearing, so that people can move vehicles off.
And was a person was gonna come and tag vehicles as well, I thought.
That's a whole separate issue, and I have no idea where that's at.
Okay,
We are supposed to actually have a meeting with YRB and the ministry sometime in November.
okay.
I haven't. She's the ministry representative's been away. I think she just got back today, so she will set that up. And I'm not sure who will be in attendance. I know commissioners are invited to attend this, but I wanted public as well, and I thought we'd agreed on that. But then there was a request that public not attend this meeting. So I'm not sure where that's at. I'll let you know, because I've got the names of the people that said they would like to be involved. So yeah, there should be a meeting, and we can ask that question, Jim, about tagging. All right, the other, that was the letter that I sent about our community, and I think, Riondel, that the Riondel Community Association also sent a letter to Joe Kiriko making the same kinds of arguments about why this building needs support. So we got a copy of their letter as well. All right, back to public time.
Actually,
Oh yeah, we're missing.
now, I missed the last meeting because I said I'd go to the Riondel Irrigation District meeting, important stuff to talk about. And to teach me not to miss the commission.
Yeah, I am.
Took me off the agenda.
I am sorry.
I was quite excited about that.
Yeah. Well, actually, and I was supposed to do a financial update. Missing in that. I don't know. Yeah.
Did we talk about the time for the meeting?
No, we didn't actually. I thought I had that, but it wasn't on the agenda.
Well, under the next meeting, the date and time.
We already talked.
Item 11.
We already talked about that.
Get here, Gary.
We already talked about that. Maybe 6:30.
The only one working.
Okay. Well.
I can't quite catch what.
Lynn's saying? Yeah.
Okay. Well, we do have one more meeting before the end of the year, so let's put that on the agenda. Make sure, Donna, that that's on the agenda. Okay. And Gary, go ahead.
Well, sure. If you put me in as number 10 and bump the others, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I missed last meeting, as I said, there's in the stuff that we took the time to meet because Riondel Irrigation District needs board support to access the money. That's why I went there and Kelly went there instead here. That's all handled. When we were talking in September, there was a few things I mentioned that are issues or concerns. One was our recycling depots were being squeezed with the potential renegotiation of how many core depots we get versus satellite depots and the cost of getting depots under the contract we have with recycling.
Gary, I can't hear you very well.
Oh, can you slide that thing down closer?
I thought I was normally too loud. We did have a meeting with the outgoing Minister of Environment, George Heyman, didn't run, and we have no idea who the minister is. But it was quite a good conversation because we said once again, as we said for the last several years, every time there's a Recycle BC great idea, let's change something, it squeezes the rural areas. And it's hard to justify and maintain some of the smaller services we have and get, depots and service and accessibility out to the far reaches of our regional district. Happily, they said, no, they've actually got good news coming for us. We received it last month in October, but I only saw a partial draft, and it looks like we're going to get substantially more money for what we collect. everything we collect that's recyclable should be paid for through this circular economy system. We're going to get substantially more money. What wasn't clear, though, is whether or not we're still going to be squeezed on the number of people. So, as one of the co-chairs of our resource recovery committees, where we talk about waste and recycling, we agreed we'd punt it to November. So I won't see till Thursday the agenda and the analysis, but we will discuss this Thursday. But a week tomorrow, we'll see on the agenda for that meeting what this looks like. We may be in better shape than we thought because we're going to get more money paid back for the efforts of everybody rinsing and separating and recycling all this stuff. So something I flagged is I was worried about, and it looks like the ministry is doing the right thing, and it may turn out to be better. Another item I said then we'd bring up was this water licensing thing. We have 3 in Area A. One of them is extension of service and an issue north of the Sanka system. Another is right in the heart of the Sanka system and our right-of-way. And the third one is the golf course. Ministry staff said, yes, they're interested. The golf course, it fits, community benefit. It should be higher priority. And they did talk to our staff and said they're going to look at that as a priority. Of course, government kind of shut down for the election. This was days before the election, but that was a good outcome in that conversation. Turned out pretty good. The other key topic we had was internet connectivity. Now, we are getting an option of fiber here. That's through a CRTC grant. It's kind of a long drawn-out way to try and get the initial backbone of fiber to the community. There's a grant to connect this building and the water system, critical infrastructure, local government infrastructure, to fiber, and then that may give us some other benefits. But through those conversations, the province has also gone to CRTC and said, there's a major flaw. All these big telcos, they say, well, here's an area, and you meet the federal criteria for internet in this area somewhere. Well, the zones or polygons are like 20 kilometers across. So if you have good internet in a little tiny cluster, maybe it's a village, Slocan village or something, then their polygon, everything that overlaps, that it says, oh, we're good. It's not eligible for grant funding. It's not eligible for upgrades. So they put in a CRTC application. It's online now. I will make my comments in response to say, this is silly. The telcos know they have a much more granular database as to where they do and don't serve. And so force them to give that to 3 major providers across the country, to every province in confidence, then also leverage to have that released to the public so that anyone else looking to provide better service knows exactly what they're up against. Because the only ones who have a complete database right now are like Rogers, TELUS, and Bell. So that was an interesting outcome as well. So I feel kind of good about, not that we were one of many voices all chiming in on the same kind of thing. Since then, something I want to stress again, and I don't know if I brought it up very clearly, and I deliberately left this in the back burner, not knowing where the ferry negotiation was going to go. But the Western Pacific Marine contract with the province includes their requirement to convene and provide support to a Kootenay Lake Ferry Stakeholders Committee. This did exist, I don't know, I was on it a dozen years ago. I don't know, Greg Gardila was on it. You weren't on a committee like that, you don't remember that one? A few of us were on it. It went fairly well. Then with a ministry shuffle, they shut down their position for the Transportation Marine branch. That position disappeared out of Nelson, even though we got lots of ferries and marine transportation issues, and it died. So there's a strong push now. So I've had a conversation with the representative. James Mong is new to the Kootenay Lake Ferry and Western Pacific Marine crew. He's a assistant marine superintendent. He's come out, he's spoken to the community. Some of you might have met him at the Kootenay Bay Terminal a month or so ago. And once it looks like we're back in normal operation, whenever that happens, we need to pull some names together, stakeholders or community champions, and get this committee going again. Because this is where we should be talking about stuff like, could there be a 6-on, 6-off schedule? And how would we coordinate that start time and run times with the bus and with this and with that? Like, we need that. We need to not have any of those conversations under pressure with strike action. We need something that's has some continuity, and you bring up a good idea and you kick it around a bit, massage it, introduce another idea, you get somewhere. So if people can think about either, if you want, I can give you his contact directly, or if you thought you'd be interested in representing community as a stakeholder. Kind of people that come to mind are probably the people who are sitting at the ferry landing on Monday morning, all of whom would have been rejected, almost all of them, except there was a little, I guess, civil disobedience. And some people just drove on. So about 30 vehicles boarded that first ferry. If you looked at the camps, and I've looked at the camps both sides, there's a tent and a trailer on the Balfour side screening people, and if you could see a car would come and it would leave. Two would be there and one camera shot and then it's gone. And there's been no boat. Here, they accumulated 2.5 rows, nobody talking to anybody, waiting with expectation. And then some people just said, well, they're boarding, and they boarded anyway. The 9 o'clock was handled differently. But it's totally inequitable. What people are being given as information are just left sitting and wondering. Totally inequitable. This is not workable.
No.
Now, it's just one of the little wrinkles in what happens when we get in this position and we have no access. But I think this kind of committee, we want people who will actually bring ideas, life experience, good examples, and a voice to say, you don't leave this until the worst possible time. All this current situation is going to leave us bad feelings amongst neighbors. When all of this should have been talked about since the last strike, but it wasn't. Stakeholder committee for Kootenay Lake Ferry, I think, is important. Other things I'll wait for later. During my meetings on the coast, we had a lot of conversation about community forest expanding. Community forests currently hold 4% of the annual allowable cut in this province. And some community forests do very well. One, because they don't pay the full stumpage. They pay a token amount of stumpage, but they also have very committed projects like creating trails or focusing where they harvest on reducing or mitigating fuel loading near houses like we have along some of these slopes here. There's a lot of benefits other than the local jobs. You know, the money circulates sort of closer to home when it's a small community forest operation. The minister, who also didn't run this election of forest, pretty much sat beside Jennifer Gunter, the head of the Community Forest Association, and said their ministry was looking at their suggestions. The suggestion from the Community Forest Association was to double or quadruple, maybe more, the annual allowable cut for community forests. Now, that would take stumpage out of the hands of the province, so it's a transfer of money to community where it circulates locally. I'm good with that. It would not take fiber from any mills, because if you take the Creston Community Forest, they provide primarily to Canfor, Hushcroft, Pine Profiles, Atco, or whoever else. And of course, they have a good volume of pulp going over to Mercer Celgar and Castlegar. So it doesn't impact our industry that needs the fiber. It just changes how the fiber is harvested. The target in BC timber sales, and prior to the election, and it shouldn't have changed, the ministry stated that they think they should rework BC timber sales, maybe come up with a different formula. Well, the obvious formula is you transfer some of their tenure, 25% of the total annual allowable cut in the province, over to the Community Forest Association, the provincial association. I've asked formally 2 ways if the Creston Community Forest would consider within their mandate the satellite community forest along the East Shore. Now, if someone else has a great idea, you've got the experts, you want to try and start a community forest from ground up, go for it. But I think it would be more progressive to use an existing Community Forest Association who has a good track record, financially sound, and see if we have the community champions along the East Shore, which could assist them to negotiate taking some tenure, it'd be land-based fixed tenure, away from BC timber sales. BC timber sales tenure is all up Crawford Creek, across the mountain and above you here, and more down further south. It's a really good fit. It's a topic I'd like us to, again, pull some champions out of the weeds. The last one is the geothermal. Gord and Dan are going gangbusters for looking at 4 different expressions of interest. different sources of money, the geothermal, the deep geothermal, and he's presenting again to one of the national associations, I think next Tuesday. And interestingly, this community was a hub for the think about it, but the water under here, even though it's hot and accessible, is corrosive because of the mineral content. Whereas the water they're looking at just a little further south is a much better source. Cleaner, definitely cleaner. So that's an interesting project that's still kicking.
Any geothermal waters can have
Issues, yeah.
They have to be figured out, mitigated.
Anyway, those were the topics on top of mind right now.
Thanks, Gary.
Good stuff.
Sorry for the omission.
Good stuff.
And there should have been a financial report here at this point, but I just got the new financial statement, so I haven't gone through them for your next day. Public time. Any other observations, thoughts from?
I know it's got nothing to do with commission, but Halloween haunt over for the Wilkinsons won't happen again. So you really should try to find somebody in your health as an opportunity to negotiation as well. But we had over 250 people come through. Every year it's got bigger and better. Biggest prize we gave this year was over $150. It's a great venue, so get the word out there. They find somebody to pick up the ball.
Thanks for doing it.
We will provide lots of information on how we did it and we all dealt with to get money and stuff right to help to do for stuff. So
250.
we had over 250 come through this year.
Wow, I had 26 at my house.
Well,
trick or treating.
parents and kids.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a lot.
Years.
So a lot of my
There
kids
was
didn't
a
come
lot of
around.
trick-or-treaters this year.
Well, Fran for work said she had 60 come through.
Okay.
And Lisa down the road had 66, just a few doors down.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So
We tried to do that here.
Well,
Last
maybe
year.
like, yeah, maybe about 30 or 40.
Great treat.
It's great because so often at Halloween, the thing you hear about are like cases of vandalism or something like that. You know, so this is like the whole opposite picture.
This year there was no vandalism. Last year we had vandalism after the fact. Yeah. Well, this year there was
Perfect, thanks. Yeah, no, thanks.
I'll do it again.
Oh, I hope not to be here.
And if you move, it'll be difficult, yes.
My oldest daughter, who does the biggest part of the decorating, has nothing. Tired, and all her kids have gone to work now, so yeah, just have a support system.
But it's been great idea. All right, our next meeting is, I don't have the date on, what is it? It'll be Tuesday, December 3rd. And motion to adjourn.
Sounds good.
Oh, all right. Jenna, thank you for doing the minutes. Much appreciated. I hope you can make sense of it.
Yeah, you
Not
bet.
the best way to do it.